Ron Sullivan, your online hitting consultant. I want to talk to you again against the grain of conventional wisdom, and I'm okay with that. That's probably why I stay under 200 subscribers at this point, but that's not that's neither here nor there. All right, so look, these were basically the same pitch, same game. I didn't go find these videos to prove my point. Both home runs and both adjustments. Right? So if you look online right now, or hear somebody talking about hitting, generally speaking, the move is on about the back foot, and I've talked about this before in somewhat in some detail, right? And there's a big movement of, oh, look at Bryce Harper with his back foot off the ground. And I actually saw on Facebook the other day somebody that gets a tremendous following, usually showing a video of a before swing of a kid hitting on a tee, and they had no lower body movement, and they're 9 or whatever, and then it shows them doing a giant leg kick also on a tee. And everybody likes it and shares it because they're much more athletic. And rarely going to see a 10 and under before and after. I guarantee it, of a pitched ball of a player. Well, it's just a really difficult move. It's real easy to teach on the tee. You can teach a player to hike their leg up over their head on the tee, right? But the other thing that was pointed out in these videos, and always pointed out in this particular instructor's videos, is how that back foot comes off the ground. And it's just the anti-movement or it's the anti-squish the bug thing that goes way too far in the wrong direction. And they're grooving a whole generation of players that won't be able to make adjustments, right? Make sure that whatever teaching you're getting, whatever instruction you're getting, right, that you're not trying to tell your player to pick their foot up off the ground, or that you're telling the player to drag their back foot, and whatever it is, right? Make sure that they understand the proper release mechanism, the swing, so that every now and then they're going to need to be able to make an adjustment of a pitch down in the zone, right, where they're not going to be turning on it as much, right? And you watch Hosmer on the left, his thigh almost completely shuts down at this point. It's not even moving forward anymore, because in order to hit this pitch, he had to do that. This is the compensation that has to be there. This is why it's an adjustment. Pitch away in the zone, right? You're going to see a player do something similar. They've got to make sure that they can stay on that pitch. If you always think, all right, if you've learned about the swing because you saw the home run video of so and so at a bell tie pitch, and everything you've defined around that hitting is defined around that particular pitch, you're going to be frustrated, not only as an instructor but also as a student, if that's how you're learning. You need to be able to understand that this backside releases because of a mechanism that we have, right? Not because we're going to jump off the back foot or because we're going to get it in the air or what have you. Now, if you get a pitch up in the zone, your body's going to rotate a little bit more around to get to that ball out front, which is, by the way, the only place you're going to hit that pitch, right? So your body's going to turn more. Well, the backside's going to respond to that, and so your back foot's going to, sometimes it may drag a couple of inches. Sometimes it may not even go anywhere, right? But the reality is that if you're a good hitter, your back foot's not going to release the same way every time, because you're not going to allow it. You're going to take yourself out of the at bat, right? So learn about the mechanism that's so important, right? The mechanism that says, all right, my knee's got to release this way, and it's going to do it against leverage, right? And my knee is connected to my thigh bone, which just so happens connected to the hip bone, right? And this back foot's going to respond to that. Now, there's a timing mechanism with our back foot that you can be, conscious of. And Hosmer does it, maybe some might consider a little bit early, but you'll see over on the left, as his heel's coming in the ground, his back heel's coming off the ground, right? Something kids don't typically do really well is release that backside. You see Morales, and this could be a pitch thing with the way he responds to this location, but you can see, generally speaking, we go into the front the front heel, and the back heel releases. That may be the first place you could start with your young player. That doesn't mean they're going to use the mechanism correctly, but if they don't have the timing of that release correctly, then you're probably not going to use your lower half as quickly as you need to, right? And then from there, I would start talking to the player about this back knee, right? If you've got that release happening with the heels anyways, then talking about releasing the back the back knee in this direction, which will ultimately get this back thigh to release, which is connected to the hip, right? Don't make the back foot an issue. right? Don't tell your player an absolute on the back foot movement. Don't say get your foot up in the air. Don't say drag it. Any of those things. Maybe, look, I do drills where I'll have players when I'm trying to get them to, we don't want to hit everything with the velvet hammer. If I got a player that squishes the bug, I might tell them to drag their toe a little bit in a drill we're doing. But after that, once they learn that mechanism that creates that, right, I never mention it again. I don't say, look how far your back foot went and all that, because that pounds home to the player. That's an absolute that has to be there in every swing. And I think these guys are showing us, right? I think we can all agree. These guys are showing us that, well, their back foot didn't do that, right? Again, pitch up in the zone, you would likely see that these guys would release their backside a little bit differently, right? A pitch out on the outer half, they're probably going to have this same similar approach where they're trying to stay on the ball, okay? So don't take your players out of an at-bat because some guy is always online pointing out how far the back foot moves or it came off the ground. This is old stuff that somebody's repeating over and over again because of something that somebody pointed out in the anti-squish the bug movement, right? That at the time needed to be pointed out. But there are much more advanced ideas than just telling a player, look how far your back foot came off the ground. Any kid can learn to do that. Teach a player to make the adjustment when they need to make an adjustment, and you've gotten somewhere. All right, guys. Ron Sullivan, your online hitting consultant.